I'm going to try to do a video today by myself. This week is obviously a very busy week for us. Any aerification week is always kind of crazy, so all my guys are real busy with stuff. One thing with that also, the course is going to be a little bit hairy this weekend. We completely focus on aerifying the greens, so all our attention is to that. So the rough will be a little bit hairy. We'll try to catch up mowing the next 2 days. As today, it's Thursday morning, and we have 16 and a half greens done. I say a half because we got caught up in the rain yesterday, and we couldn't sand. We have the cores pulled on 12 and 13, but we could not sand because it was too wet. It's still too wet today, so tomorrow morning we'll try to wrap that up with the sand. Again, I believe the aerification is the most important process there is, and I'll explain a little bit why right now. So the other part of everything is this means that we're over the hump. Any damage that was done on the golf course throughout the summer is all you'll see. We had an extremely good summer this year. It was very difficult again, almost as difficult as last year. Again, I'm getting phone calls from a lot of other courses and vendors, and I know there's some bad grass out there. So I don't like going visit other courses because our primary focus is our course and to give you guys the best product we could give. Now I want to talk about our greens right now because of the aerification. One thing with our greens, and I've talked about this in the past, when we don't lose grass and we keep piling good year after good year on top of each other, the grass gets stronger to my maintenance style. They perform better, and this year was the biggest example of that. Now, they might have got a little bit slower towards the end, and I'll explain that. But one thing that we did this year, and I've never done it on any other golf course in the Northeast, I never adjusted the mowing. All I did was raise the height a very little bit. We went from 0.095 to 0.1. So we're kind of a tenth of an inch all summer long. That's kind of unheard of. It's pretty amazing how far our greens have come in the last 8 or 9 years. Again, this is my longest tenure at a course, so I've never experienced this, and it was always a philosophy that you just keep tackling good years on top of good years. I think that's why these big clubs that are always in good shape is because they've stacked so many years where their grass is strong. I know they talked about it at the US Open this year with Oakmont, and we're definitely getting there. Last year I did have to put solid rollers on our greens mowers, which meant that it was a little bit higher of a cut. This year, literally, they were cut the same height as it was for the Invitational. The difference with that, with the speed, they roll the same. The smoothness is there. The speed is a little bit off because of the watering that we're doing. And I can't top dress in that heat. You can't put sand on the greens in that heat. And you can't broom, you can't groom. So those, we'll never be able to do that in August. That's too aggressive. That's why, spring and fall, when we're doing those practices, the greens pick up speed. You're going to see that next week, even with these holes, the greens picked up a lot of speed just from the sand. So I'll explain a little bit of that right now. So what we did was we went with tighter spacing. We got about 24 ton of sand in these greens, which means we took that much out. So towards the end of the season, they were getting a little bit puffy, and you'll see right here, this is the bent grass. This is the grass that the type of bent grass that I don't know what they seeded it with prior to me being here. Again, it's not something I would have done, but it's what we have. I would have stuck with all the good POA and got that stronger. But we have what we have, and it's performing a little bit better now. The only thing it does is it gets a little bit puffy and a little bit soft when we're watering so much in August. But that's just the style of grass that it is. It's I definitely think it's an inferior bent grass. If you watched Caves Valley this weekend, they just redid all their greens with a newer type variety of bent grass. And just by looking at the TV, I could tell that it wasn't as thatchy as ours. But we took care of that. The other thing you might notice the next couple days is there's some stuff on top. It's a soil amendment. I used, towards the end of the year in August, the greens were getting some localized dry spots, and I could tell that they were lower in calcium, so the water wasn't retaining in certain areas, so you would see some little spots that we had to hand water. So I put some calcium out with it. There's also a phosphorus in this and humic acid, so that should solve that also. It's a little bit different than I normally do, so that's why you'll see a little bit of fertilizer on top right now, but that will only last a couple days when it washes in. We're already getting really good healing time because our greens have been so healthy. They're going to heal real quick, and like I said, the speed is going to pick up pretty quick, and everything's going to be real good this fall. We're happy where we're at with the greens. Like I said, we stacked another good year on top of the other, and this fall should be tremendous. I'm doing some work on the fairways, which I'll give you another video in a second. People are waiting for me on the golf course, so I have to go. Thanks.